Hello. Hey. Oh my gosh. Okay. For a while, once again, Facebook changes everything and I couldn't tell if I was live or not. So I tried to go live on YouTube and that was ridiculous. Hello. Impromptu live coffee chat with Ashley. So, hey, I just wanted to give you guys a really good announcement on the Chakra Academy. So we are fully open for enrollment. I wanted to give a personal update on the Chakra Academy. We are going to start enrollment all this week until Sunday. And most importantly, I really wanted to talk a lot about how much energy work can really transform your entire life. And I think it's really important to understand just about how much of our lives is dominated around energy as a whole and as a concept. This was something that really helped me a lot as I was going through my own spiritual awakening, as I was going through ascension symptoms, learning how to manage ascension symptoms. It helped me a lot with emotional healing and self-regulating. It's just, there's so much to dive into. I can barely even contain what I want to say when I talk about the chakras, because the possibilities are freaking endless. So one thing that I want to say here is hi. How's it going? I haven't done a live in a while. I'm kind of excited. I'm going to take some coffee first. Now I know this was very last minute, impromptu. That's fine. What I really wanted to say is kind of really go into two particular universal laws and how they correlate to the chakras and energy work as a whole. And if you're new to energy work, I just want to give you a little bit of a taste of where I have come from in terms of knowing about the chakras and energy work as a whole. And for example, really looking into how you can start to understand that the chakras are influenced by the law of vibration. And so we have to go rewind and go all the way back to the point of knowing that everything is energy. So I recently wrote this in a post. Everything is energy. How we understand energy is through the observer effect, and the observer effect is often ruling our lives. And this is literally due to quantum mechanics. This is literally science. And so one thing that really flipped the dial for me was really the first time I heard that everything is energy. And I remember this distinct quote that my teacher taught me, and she said basically that quantum physics stated that they discovered and embraced the fact that we are 99.9999% energy, or empty space, and that empty space is energy. And so we have to realize that we are more energetic beings than we are physical matter. And when we start to see that as a whole, how we can understand ourselves is by understanding our energy, and by understanding how energy works, how vibration works in our body, how to understand consciousness as a whole, comes back to really looking at this core foundational concept of the law of vibration, where you have to realize that energy is literally who you are as a person. And the law of vibration is always occurring and illustrating this law through how energy works. And so when I heard this quote a really long time ago, how we're 99.999% empty space, and that space is energy, which means we are less than 1% of physical matter. Almost all of us as a whole, as a concept, is energy. And because we are energetic beings, when we really understand at a fundamental level that we are energetic beings, there's so much more potential to who we are than what we are often led to believe. A lot of us are more dominated around the fact of cause and effect paradigm, and where we believe that physical effort alone is how we get results. And from this mentality of the Newtonian concept, where we believe we are in a survivalistic mind, where we believe that cause and effect is the only way that we can actually get results, change, transformation. But the energetic world tells us an entirely different story. The energetic world, I feel like I'm like really in your face. I'm like gonna step back. So the energetic world as a whole tells you a different story about who you are. It says that you are always vibrating, like you are always oscillating. The law of vibration states that nothing is ever at rest. Everything is always oscillating and vibrating at a given frequency and rate of velocity. And that the law of vibration is showing you so much more about how energy works as a whole. Because if everything is vibrating, then this means that your thoughts have a vibration, your actions have a vibration, your words that come out of your mouth have a vibration, your body as a whole has a vibration. Everything around you and within you has a vibration. And so this law of vibration is illustrating your life. It's how we are communicating. It's how we are verbally speaking and into our world and manifesting. It's how we are affirming, literally how we are affirming the words and projections into our reality. The law of vibration is connected to microwaves, frequency, radio waves, all sorts of different types of frequency, really looking at the different frequency rays and how we can start to see that there's different frequencies and there's different energetic waves that are happening all the time. A really good book to understand frequency is actually called Frequency. It's, I forgot who it's called or who the author is. But when you start to look at it like this, so let's stay on track. So with the law of vibration, you can start to see that with vibration, we have this connection to the quantum field and the quantum field of consciousness. And so this quantum mentality of looking at the world is so much more expansive and elaborate and way more, I want to say it's way more accurate to just the cause and effect paradigm. And so if you're a Joe Dispenza fan, he talks about this a lot. We have the Newtonian concept and we have the quantum concept. Now, the Newtonian concept, it talks a lot about how when we have a cause, we are creating an effect. This is basic science. But the quantum reality works differently. It works through energetic vibration. It works through our consciousness and the vibration of our consciousness at a given rate in time. It works through the understanding of our emotions and our emotional vibration in our body. And so when you start to look at how vibration is one of the core laws of reality and nothing is ever at rest, everything is always oscillating. This means that the affirmations that you have, there is an energy behind the words you're speaking. There is a vibration behind the words you're speaking. There's a vibration behind the habits you create. There's a vibration and a pattern behind how you are creating those habits in your life. There's a vibration and an oscillated frequency of how you are giving and receiving in your life. And I like to call these, it's like standards. It's your standards and boundaries for your life. And so as you start to see that your vibration plays such a huge role in who you are, and these giving and receiving dynamics are happening in the chakra system. And so one thing I do with the academy is I take you through each of the chakras and we journey deep into the chakras, because each of these centers is showing you your giving and receiving dynamics in that particular chakra. So for example, we might not realize, but our mindset around our money or the mindset around our relationships are related to particular chakras in those habits that we have due to our conditioning from that particular vibration. And if you were to just take it back and look at how vibration is actually the real problem, you can start to see that vibration's actually the solution. Because the more that you are working with that mind-heart coherence, with the mind-body connection, you're starting to see that the vibration plays a huge role in how you are healing, how you manifest, how you become an energetic match, how you become an energetic match for what you want. And what occurs is it allows you to enable what I call your magnetism, which is your natural law of attraction. It's your point of attraction in manifestation. We all have this. It's basically our focus. And our focus illustrates our point of attraction. So the law of vibration tells you so much about how you have a particular frequency that's going on in these giving and receiving dynamics. And that energy is what needs to shift and change. And while we think that this is a very like woo-woo, esoteric, like really like aloft term, it's really not, because actually we can pinpoint the chakras and correlate them to our mindset, our habits, how we are literally created as a human, our identity. So our mindsets, our beliefs, our emotions, our emotional wounds, our habits, all of these things are working through the mind-body connection through our vibration. And it creates what is called the law of correspondence. If you're not familiar with universal laws, the law of correspondence is the law of mirror. It's the law where everything is a mirror. So as inner, so outer, as above, so below. The energetic statement of how you, how can I put this really simply? What you are giving internally is what is revealed externally. So what you are giving to your internal state of consciousness is also what's being revealed to you externally as a mirrored projection of consciousness in your given reality. So how this relates to the quantum is realizing that that law of vibration is creating a dynamic, and that dynamic is a pattern. And so you have to realize that you have these patterns going on and looping in your nervous system as you're conditioning. This is due to when you grew up. But what a lot of people won't tell you is that in order to understand the pattern and in order to understand that level of consciousness, you have to go to the root of the energetics where the pattern takes place and allow yourself to literally work with that pattern in a way where you can emotionally empower it, where you can start to stabilize the pattern into a different pattern. It's called repatterning. And it's something that I teach in a lot of my programs, but the main thing that I do in the Ultimate Chakra Academy is we go deep into the depths of the chakras and we go through a process of what's called repatterning. And so with the law of correspondence, we have this realization that everything is a mirror. And so rather than doing this Newtonian concept work where we're doing cause and effect, where we're like, what can I change on the outside? What can I do for physical effort? What can I do externally to get my result? And instead, we're flipping the entire situation around, and we're choosing to instead be like, actually, I'm going to work on the internal state first, because due to the law of correspondence, this is actually how change occurs in the body. It causes an effect when you work from the beingness versus the doingness. And being in the beingness of the embodiment of what you want allows you to become a resonant frequency for the vibrational signature of what you desire. So putting this in layman's terms, it allows you to take that internal state of consciousness, the vibration, and you start to change it. And so as I titled this live stream, change your energy, change your life, change your vibration, change your life. This is exactly what I'm talking about. When you create the law of correspondence and you start working with the universal laws of consciousness, you start to realize that you can change and manipulate matter through the energetics. The energetics is literally the easiest way to create change in the body. It allows you to create radical transformation because you're working with the mind-body connection. So how does this relate to quantum? Well, when you think about how quantum works from past, present, and future coexisting as one coherent reality. It works as the collective consciousness. So in the quantum field of limitless possibilities, there is always another choice, another vibrational reality that you can tune into and resonate with. So as the law of correspondence is creating this coherence between the old reality and the new reality, you start to change that pattern in your nervous system. So this is how it works really energetically. But when you think about it on the practical side, it's actually way more simple to understand, because what you're doing is you're starting to work from the identity level. So there's this thing called the pyramid of change. And I just recently posted it on one of my Instagram carousels or something. I think it was a carousel. Was it a carousel? I don't know. These glasses are bothering me. So I decided to wear them to put my hair out of my face because it's bothering me. And I don't care. So anyway, so when you think of the law of correspondence in relationship to the pyramid of change, it shows you that the pyramid of change is something that's been proven due to psychology and various studies. But what happens is you have this pyramid, and the pyramid is connected to how we actually create change in the body. And at the very bottom of the pyramid, we have environment. So this is physical effort. And then we have, I think it's values. And then the second layer is values. So what you value in life is what you're more likely to shift and change. That's pretty self-obvious. Like, if you think about staying in integrity with yourself, when you value something profoundly in your life, you will change it. And so as the pyramid just keeps going and going, next we have, I know I'm missing one. Oh, skills. The next one is skills. So then you have skills. So skills and behaviors. So skills and behaviors is what you would also, it's more of a lesser, the more you change your skills and your behaviors, naturally you're going to change. But then it starts to get weirder. And then we start to look at how we change from the level of our beliefs. And so almost on the top of the pyramid, we have beliefs. And so the beliefs create a domino effect on how we create change in the body, because beliefs literally create reality. It's not thoughts create reality. It's thoughts that are repeated over time, that were translated and absorbed by your parents or your caregivers or whoever you absorbed them from. And essentially all those thoughts became repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated through habit. And that habit creates a belief in your body. So really, a belief is nothing more than a thought that becomes a habit, if you really think about it. So the beliefs create change in the body. Now, what's even at the tippy top, almost like not the tippy top, but like almost the tippy top, is our identity. And this is where change gets profound, because you can start to realize that identity is a decision that you are making with your beliefs and your habits and your emotions. And you can also see that at the very tippy top is purpose. Because when we're embodied in our purpose, we are profoundly ready to shift and change. Because this shows that this is who we are as a core person, as who we are, connected to higher self, connected to our truth, connected to our authenticity, connected to our values, connected to our beliefs, connected to who we are as a person. In this level of profound change, we allow ourselves to see differently because we're tapped into purpose. We're tapped into soul purpose. We're tapped into identity. We're tapped into who we are as a person. And that level of correspondence creates a domino effect on our life, because we're not just tuned into soul purpose. It's the whole freaking 9 yards, where we have identity, we have beliefs, we have values, we have skills, we have behavior, we have environment. And as you can see, you can start to see how so much of society has this so fucking backwards, because they say in order to create change, you need to change your environment. You need to do physical effort. You need to be pushing extra hard. You need to be doing hard work and you need to be pushing yourself to the point of your limits. You need to be pushing, chasing. And in this mentality of where you're chasing and pushing, you're stuck in the survival mind. You're stuck in a Newtonian concept where it's saying, if I do X, Y, and Z. I will get X result. But this concept is so backwards. You know why? Because it's working with your past. It's not working with the core principles of the quantum. It's not working with possibility, and it's not even working with the substance of how you create real change. Because change is created outside of the past. It's created from the present moment. It's created from possibility of the quantum reality. So when you look at how you create real change in the body, it has to be created from the identity level downward. Purpose is just the cherry on top. But when you are totally committed to change from the identity level, now you're working with not just the law of correspondence anymore, you're also working with the law of vibration. Because when you're emitting a frequency where you are creating a direct correlated shift in your identity, what do you think you're actually changing? You're changing your ego. You're changing your ego as a concept. So of course there's going to be some resistance. Of course there's going to be some friction going on, because when you allow yourself to change at that particular level, you're changing yourself internally. You're changing yourself from the internal state of consciousness, not just the physical state. When you think about how change is created in the body, it has to be created from the identity level, because otherwise it literally doesn't, this is going to sound weird, it doesn't penetrate the ego. And if you think about it like that, it makes sense, because if you're only attacking change from the environmental level, you're exerting physical effort. You can only get that physical effort from the thoughts that you already have, the beliefs you already have, the emotions you already have, the behaviors you already have, and the habits you already have. So how do you think you're going to try to create that change? You're going to use the past. You're going to use your past evidence. You're going to use your past thoughts. You're going to use your past beliefs. You're going to use your past emotions, and you're going to use your past habits. That past habit is what keeps you in a pattern. And so that pattern starts looping in your nervous system, and it starts to take control of your life. And, you know, sometimes the pattern's a good pattern, and sometimes it's a really bad pattern. And you can start to see how the more you understand how the pattern works, you can start to change it. And so what I take you through in the Ultimate Chakra Academy is we talk a ton about how you can reframe and rewire the pattern through a process of repatterning the chakra. And so when you go into this process inside of the chakra system, you can start to see that it's happening from the identity level. It's happening from the internal state of consciousness. It's not happening from this external, like, let's use like oils and crystals and stuff like this. And instead it's an interconnected process of the mind-body connection. And so when we think about this on a more practical level, so it's like we have the energetic side, which I just went through, and we have the quantum, and we have the Newtonian concept, and you can start to see how this is how the pattern just keeps looping in the nervous system. It's because you're using the past. So on the practical side, we can also start to see this as it creates profound transformation in the body, because what is occurring is it teaches you that all of these patterns are created from the energy centers, and the energy centers are your chakras, because remember, everything is energy. So if everything's energy, the easiest way to understand energy is through the chakra system, because this is literally how you are created. It's like these energy centers just help, they're just a fancy way of understanding our mindsets. They're a fancy way of understanding our beliefs. They're a fancy way of looking at your habits. They're a fancy way of looking at how the nervous system connects to the endocrine system, connects to all of the different systems in your body, and how it correlates back to energy. It's just giving you a beautiful, colorful map to understand your own psychology of how your consciousness is literally operating. And this is what the chakras can do, is the chakras, it's just like you have a plug-and-play system now to understand the psychology of how you are raising your consciousness in your body. So when we look at it in terms of just looking at like a really, really common one, and this is, very common with, talk of inflation and all this, is like, a lot of us are triggered, externally triggered by, the news and the fear of recession and inflation and all of these concepts. And, we're externally influenced by all of this, and we're taking this into our energy field, and then we get reactive, and then we start going into a fight, flight response where we start going back into that survival mind, and we're like, we gotta create change. I'm afraid of the future. I'm afraid of the past. I'm fearful of the unknown. I'm fearful of the uncertainty. I know someone recently asked me to touch on the fear of uncertainty. It's due to the survival mind. So when we think about the fear of when we think about uncertainty, doubt, dread, all these concepts are due to the survival mind. They're due to the lower mind. When we stay in the lower mind, the survivalistic mind, we're stuck in the Newtonian concept and that cause and effect kind of paradigm where we're not tuning into possibility. We're not tuning into our energetics. We're instead entering a space of reserve mode. So it's like when you think about how when we feel ungrounded and we say we feel unsafe or we're fearful of the future or we feel uncertain and we feel that fear of the unknown where we're fearing change, this concept is just due to going back to the roots of our survivalistic mind. And what happens for a lot of people, and this is very common during spiritual awakening, is we have the spiritual awakening happen, and then we have all of this fear of change, fear of the unknown. We start to experience, slight like mini ego deaths to the identity. And this creates even more fear. So the root chakra just becomes completely imbalanced and out of whack. And we have like these higher chakras that are super overactive because we're getting all this information downloaded to us. And as a result, because of what's going on with the spiritual awakening, is you have all your higher chakras are turning online. And see, like most people just live from a state of where they're in their lower chakras. So, when you have a spiritual awakening, your higher chakras start to come online. And what occurs is all of this information starts to flood into your system and you don't know how to manage it because more than likely your lower chakras are imbalanced due to society or conditioning or your past or trauma or emotional wounds, what have you. And so what happens is when you start to have all of this stuff start to come online, what most happens is a lot of us have an ungrounded root chakra. And that ungrounded, like imbalanced root chakra is either underactive or overactive. And what occurs is we then flip into the survival mind. And whoa, this is like really cool. This is like just coming to me. So it's like when you think about the survivalistic mind, we're ungrounded from our root chakra. So it's like we're disconnected, and we're disconnected from the quantum perception of reality. And that it only keeps us in the survivalistic mind. So when you think about it like this, and this is literally like, this is how it works, guys. Like the download is just coming. It's when you think about how the survivalistic mind is how our ancestors grew up. It's how we knew how to fend off the tigers and bears in our lives so we could survive. And we're no longer in that place where we're afraid of the bears in our life. But our brain, our mind associates that way. So when we have a perceived threat, such as, a shift in our identity or something that triggers us or an emotional trigger from our past shows up. And I know this is eclipse season and Mercury retrograde, so I'm sure there's some of that out there. And so when we have that emotional trigger come up, it's triggering that root chakra to be imbalanced. And what occurs is we've now disconnected the chakra system as a whole because we're not tapped into the quantum field anymore. We're aware that the quantum field exists, but we're stepping into the survivalistic mind in that level of consciousness, which is the cause and effect paradigm. So you feel ungrounded, you feel unsafe in your body, you feel dysregulated in your body, you might feel dissociated in your body. Doesn't this all sound familiar? This sounds exactly like what occurs in the ascension symptoms. So when you have these ascension symptoms come up, what's occurring is you're getting triggered by that root chakra from the survivalistic mind. And so what I've really learned a lot about is how to manage the symptoms of awakening and ascension symptoms over the years. Is it's about learning how to balance the chakras back so that they're more in alignment with the quantum field. They're in harmony of alignment. They're in alignment. They're working in harmony with alignment. And what occurs is you can start to see that when you have spiritual awakening happen, you have the higher chakras that are super active. It makes you go into spiritual burnout where you have overactive third eyes, you feel the vertigo, you feel the overwhelm, you feel overcompensated, you feel like you're in it's emotionally everywhere. You have this sensation in your body because the root chakra is imbalanced. And that's what triggers that fight, flight, freeze response in your body where you don't feel grounded. And that feeling of not being grounded is actually just you not feeling safe in your nervous system due to the psychological effect of spiritual awakening and how it just kind of flips everything online. It literally freaks out the ego because it's a direct identity shift in the identity. It's an identity shift. That identity shift is what creates all this stuff to start coming up for you, because it's like all of a sudden the chakras start turning online. And now you suddenly are feeling more tuned into your intuition. You suddenly have, this heart chakra awareness. You suddenly are, more tuned into empathy and love, and all of this stuff starts to come online because those higher chakras were dormant. And now when you have spiritual awakening happen, they start to turn on. And all of this stuff starts to turn on that was once dormant. A lot of people are only living from those lower chakras. And because of that, they're only living from the survivalistic mind, not the quantum mind, the higher mind, the mind that is connected to higher perceptions of reality and consciousness, which is to say higher perceptions of reality, 5D consciousness, as we like to call it. And so when you think about 5D consciousness as a whole, it's just the quantum. It's literally the quantum reality. And so what I begin to really understand, how does this relate to the chakras? Well, it shows you a beautiful way to look at how you can change, rewire, repattern things in your nervous system. So the emotions that you feel when you have an emotional trigger come up for you, you can start to pinpoint it back to a chakra. You can easily start to work with that chakra, and then you repattern it. And so what I quickly learned is that when I had ascension symptoms come up, what occurred for me is I started to pinpoint it back to a particular chakra, and then I allowed myself to repattern it, and then I started to work on healing it. And what occurred from this is literally what you see now. I've had so much transformation happen just from doing this work, because I'm working with the law of correspondence. I'm working with the law of vibration. I'm working with energetic laws and the quantum reality. And so when we have these fears and doubts and uncertainties and what I like to call the fear mind, we're really just tapping back into our ancestors, our survivalistic mind. And the thing is most of us have all this old conditioning going on that we essentially need to repattern, because what is occurring is these emotional wounds and these emotional triggers come up and they get triggered by our ego. And then what normally happens with a lot of spiritual people is they just either suppress that, or they try to be like, no negative thoughts, no, or I have to get rid of my ego or else. And this mentality of where we're kind of shaming the identity instead of learning how to understand it. And so what we do a lot in the Chakra Academy is I take you a lot through how to understand these patterns. I take you into how you understand how your energy works. I take you into this process of repatterning work. And we also dive into more of that practical side. I've been really talking a lot about very spiritual concepts here, where it's like, are you crazy? What does that mean? But on the same token, we have the practical side, which tells you so much more about your money mindset, your self-esteem, your confidence, your relationships, really looking at spiritual growth and your intuition, your decision making. All these things play a key role also in your chakras. So it's like, it's that law of correspondence again. We have to realize that even though it's all energetic talk, it's a byproduct of manifestation. And that was one of the final points I really wanted to hone in on. So it's like, what is the spiritual benefit of the chakras? Radical transformation. Change your energy, change your life. So when you think about how manifestation is created in the body, it goes back to the chakra system. All of the programming is in the chakras. How you heal it is in the chakras. How you manifest is in the chakras. So I can give you the tools and dynamics to understand manifestation. I love doing that. But at the same time, the best way to really get in and see what you want to manifest and how you can change it is also in the chakra system, because all of your programming is just in the chakras. It's in the energy centers in your body. And so one thing that I think is so powerful and so cool to really get is that manifestation is the byproduct of doing this internal work. Manifestation is literally the byproduct of doing this work. Whereas really, if you look at it, this is so powerful to understand, because it shows you that transformation is the vehicle, but manifestation is the byproduct. And when you see that the energy centers in your body can help create transformation in your life through the law of correspondence, the more you start to work with the quantum and start to work with those energetic centers in your body, naturally you create the shift. Because when you work on the inner, so the outer changes. It's literally the law of correspondence. I have done it so many different ways, and it doesn't work until you do this, because it has to be created from the internal shift. If you look at anyone out there who's successful, they're doing the internal work. If you look at anyone out there who's successful or making millions, if you spend time in their world, you will see that they're doing the deconditioning work. They're doing the internal energetic vibrational work. If you look at it, if you really look at it from a place of the inner, so the outer, the inner, so the outer. The clients who do my work and like they hear the law of correspondence and how it works, like they're mind blown by how quickly things can change. Because when you do it from this way, you're taking yourself out of the Newtonian concept and into the quantum. Quantum happens differently. Quantum happens differently than the Newtonian, because the Newtonian relies on time. The quantum doesn't. The quantum shifts occur because you're working with the internal state of consciousness. So rapid transformation can occur in the body when you start to work with the chakra system, because as you create those changes, the manifestation becomes the byproduct. So it's like, and I can give you numerous examples here of like when you work on the root chakra, you will naturally start to experience more abundance because you're starting to create safety and stability in the body. When you work on the third eye chakra, you'll start to have better intuition, which will allow you to create more aligned decision making in your life, which will allow you to create better decisions, and those better decisions will create a ripple effect in your life. When you start to work on the heart chakra and really work on the internal environment of the heart chakra, you will start to experience better relationships. You know, if you're having trouble in your love life, or if you're having trouble with like a shitty dynamic in one of your relationships, when you start to work on your heart chakra, you'll start to see that reflected back in your relationships. So it's like, we think that this is kind of like color therapy. Let's do oils. Let's meditate with crystals. But this is not how it works. It works at the internal state of consciousness. So this is one of the powerful things that I teach in a lot of my courses. If you're interested in working together, the Chakra Academy is officially open. I want to wrap this up real quick. If you have any questions about working together or signing up for the Chakra Academy, I will leave a link down below for you. actually, I can probably get that going. And, oh yeah, I can. Okay. Did you guys have any questions? I can't, you know, Facebook never tells me if someone's watching or not. It's like so weird. I know I went on in the middle of the day, so people are probably at work or busy because it's like lunchtime. Okay. I'm going to drop this link if you are interested. And most importantly, I wanted to talk about also, there is a payment plan link. There is numerous payment options. I wanted to make this program really accessible and really affordable for anyone who truly needs it, and anyone who maybe, you know, I mean, I know we're apparently in a recession and all of this. So I wanted to be really intentional about my pricing for this course, because I know it's very, very powerful if you commit and do the work. And so I created 3 different payment options. You have a 4-month payment option, you have a 6-month payment option, and you have a pay in full. And so the 6-month option you can get in as little as $99. This is like a freaking steal for group coaching. I'm so ready and committed to bring a beautiful group of people together. This is an incredible course that's these are like the core foundational lessons that have changed so much of my life. I am so passionate about this work. I am more than happy to help you, guide you, whatever you truly need. I am really so passionate about the chakras and mindset work and manifestation. And I hope that this live just gave you a little bit of more of a behind the scenes look of how you can start to see how the energetics and the practical side can really play together in harmony with the law of correspondence, and how you can start to see that when we go into the Ultimate Chakra Academy, it's more than just this conversation of let's meditate and sing Kumbaya. And it's also more than just this let's, you know, like, let me give you some information on crystals and essential oils. I don't want you to go in thinking that that's what I'm about, because I'm not. And it's important to understand that while you can totally see some rapid transformation and quantum shifts with this work, it also requires you have to be committed. You have to be willing to take action. You have to be willing to show up and do the work. And I'm not going to be shy and say that this is one of those courses where you just absorb the information and like think you got it. It's about really learning to go into the journey of your chakra system and how you can start to systemize what you're doing, your mindset, your habits, your emotional wounds, what you desire to clean up, what you desire to manifest. Most importantly, looking at how manifestation is the byproduct of this work, and you can start to change the way that you're communicating through this work. And I think what's most powerful for me is one thing I've realized a ton is that it's realizing that change is created from the pyramid of change. But most importantly, behind the pyramid of change is energetics. It's the vibration. It's the vibration that actually creates the real shifts. And I think it's so easy to get stuck in this trap where we think that it's a cause and effect situation, where we think that we have to do certain things to get X result. And this is a society ingrained belief where hard work equals success. And over the years, what I've really come to possess is fully that the vibration is really the missing piece for so many people. That's why they have trouble healing. That's why they have trouble defeating the pattern or repatterning. That's why they have trouble really honing in on the identity. It goes so much deeper than these external tools that we're often taught. And the more you start to dive into the chakra system and look at, what needs to be cleaned up, what are you ready to really step into emotional fulfillment with, this is where we can experience real deep spiritual transformation. And most importantly, I just want to say that if you are interested in the Chakra Academy and you have questions, maybe you're on the fence, please don't be afraid to reach out and have a conversation with me. I'm more than happy to help you answer those questions. You can send me a DM or an email. I'm totally down for that. We also have a teal bubble on our website that you can pop in a question. I am all about having conversations if you desire to work together, so don't be afraid to reach out. I love hearing from you guys, so please reach out. Next, I want to say that we also have a new training that is coming with this particular course. So one thing that I've learned a ton about is how to do mindset work with the chakra system. And I wanted to really address my updated perspective on this. So for this round, we're doing one of the coaching calls is going to be a bonus training. And you're going to get basically a live training with me where we do kind of like this. And I'm going to do Q&A. So you also receive 4 coaching calls with me, so you can have more of a hot seat coaching session, or we do what is called chakra strategy sessions, where we kind of do some energy diagnostic and kind of go into what would be the best plan for you, what do you need to work on, and it's just a really fun time. So if you are interested, like I said, just reach out, and I think I covered everything I wanted to. I hope you enjoyed this incredible impromptu, and I hope you guys have a great day.